So you shouldn't take our word for all the greatness. We do work with various kinds of customers internationally in different industries, both with global enterprises to local ones. And now we have one example here today. It's a local online retailer from here, from Finland, called Verkkokauppa.com. And I'm super happy to welcome B2B Sales Director Lari Hevonoja on the stage. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. So Verkkokauppa.com, obviously in Finland, everybody knows it because it's a huge B2C brand, let's say. But for the international audience, could you please start by describing in brief what is Verkkokauppa.com?
Yes, and I think that our name tells everything. So if you translate our name to the English, it means webstore.com. So we are, I think, the pioneer in this business. We just have a 30 years anniversary, and shortly telling our size that we are stock listed in Finland, and our last year turnover was 570 million euros. So actually, the journey started 30 years ago from garage, and now we are stock listed, so it's a huge story.
That is a great, great growth story. And for us as Finnish consumers, obviously this side we know quite well. But then there is a B2B sales division to Verkkokauppa.com, and that's also where you work. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think that's not a dark side of the Verkkokauppa, but not very well known.
At least for us consumers, sort of, if I look at it from like as a consumer,
yeah. But we have, let's say, a huge amount of SMB customers. I would say that nearly 50,000 of companies in Finland, they're buying regularly yearly to us. And of course, we have a little bit bigger customers. So we talk about enterprise level customer like we have in Finland. I can mention one customer, tells you a little bit about the size and the companies is Posti. So it's the post company in Finnish who is handling all the logistics.
Yeah, and that is big, and that's obviously then an important part of your business as well. Could you briefly describe your role also at the organization?
Yes, I'm responsibility of the B2B division, and a little bit size of us, what we tell to the publicly. I can tell you also that it's around 120 million euros what we reached last year. So it's a lot of. We are a small team, and I'm very proud of the team. We have done a lot of changes and work to gain this market share.
That sounds excellent. So one of the things you do for the B2B sales, you use OpusCapita's order-to-cash messaging services. Could you describe that?
Yes. Well, we are receiving orders and we are sending invoices, and we use OpusCapita as a partner. And I think that the e-invoice is quite popular probably in companies, but e-orders coming into your system is not so familiar. So probably I can tell you that what kind of project we have done with OpusCapita is that we have example customer who is using SAP procurement systems, and we like to have those orders directly to our system. So it's easy for customer, and we have let's say the way of how we can handle that, but OpusCapita help us to that, making that even more faster and better way of handling these orders directly to our system. So it's very good and convenient for the customer.
Yeah, and that's super nice to hear, of course. But also, so we're specifically talking about sending orders and receiving orders, then in the other end, electronically, right?
Yes.
Could you describe, or how would you describe the importance of doing this digitally?
I would say it's our core. We are built on the digital way of doing business. So I would say it's incorporated the way of we doing the business that way.
And yeah, exactly. You're an online store, so it makes sense that you also want to offer this B2B site as a digital one. How do you say that? Does it add to your, let's say, ability to serve customers or ability to react to orders and so forth?
Yeah, I would say that if you compare it to manual order process that you automated that and fully digitally, I think it's most faster, less human errors, and I think it really helps to creating the customer experience for our customer.
Yeah, definitely. I can only imagine. So Per talked a lot about these standardized messages. Do you see that as a relevant part in your order to cash message exchange?
Yes, we are expanding or we are planning to expanding that we could offer, example, order confirmation and some other message types, which is many times needed for bigger customers. They want to confirm the orders, and that's one way also creating the customer experience a little bit better.
Yeah, that sounds super cool. And as I've understood, you also sort of take in these orders and then get them in the standardized format, and that's what helps you then process those further.
Yes, that's right. It's even the customer have same kind of procurement system. We need to have a partner there so that we save a time, that it's enabling much faster the connection between us and the customer. So there is good that we have a partner that's like you mentioned, is standardizing the messages. It saves us a lot of time.
That sounds very good. Did you always offer this opportunity for your B2B customers?
Not everyone, because we have a lot of SMB level customers, and we need to think about that how many orders is coming to us. So it's more likely that we want to expand to the enterprise level customer, and there we order the solution that we could have a standardized way of getting the e-electronic orders to our system.
All right, so that's for anyone watching. If you are thinking of becoming a B2B customer for Verkkokauppa.com, maybe it's a good chance to be in contact with Lari, and he can help you with that. Do remember also to add questions, so if you have anything you're wondering about for Lari or want to know more, now is a good chance to go to the chat and ask him some questions, and then we'll take a couple of those in a few minutes. But let's continue. So we've talked about orders, but then you also send invoices sort of related to those orders via OpusCapita. How do you see that coupling these orders to the e-invoice sending? How does it add to your digitalization, and how?
I would say that it's a faster way for us, and it's creating the scalability for us to grow. And I would say it's our way, it's our nature to build up the relationship with the customers.
Do you see that it gives you an ability to to offer a better customer experience also?
Yes, of course. If you think about that, you're using your procurement system like SAP, and you want to be sure that your orders is coming through. It's easier for you. You know that everything is coming through, and it's much faster. And example, much faster we get the orders, it's easier for us. We have some example cut-off time from when we send out of packages from our warehouses. So if we get that example for before 2 o'clock, we can ensure much better that you will get your package tomorrow. Yeah,
and that actually sounds super good. Is there a difference between how the B2C orders and B2B orders are handled, or?
Yeah, actually we have created that we want to serve better our B2B customers in a certain way. So we have actually prioritized so that orders come through first and then the B2C. But of course it's related what is the situation in our system and what is it the rush hour or not. But we like to prioritize for the certain critical customer for us.
Yeah, definitely. And then being a big online retailer, I can only imagine that you probably have a very well established, very well set up a delivery process. Is that the same or different for the B2C and B2B orders? Or how does that work?
It's the same. Both of the customer type can use our web shop. Of course, it's easiest way, and I think probably if you think about the B2B customer, it's around 80% of our customers is using that way of using our web shop. But then we have enterprise level customer, like Alka mentioned before, Posti example, and some others, quite many actually, and there we need to create some other ways of ordering, and that's why using their procurement system, it's really good to have their orders directly integrated into our system.
Yeah, and also I'm imagining that are you able to, with that, kind of let go of the manual handling, and does that help you with not just time savings, but maybe elsewhere as well?
Yeah, it's reduced cost, of course. If you think about it, that you're doing manually this work, you're reducing your cost, and of course it's possible that we can grow much faster because we can expand our business much faster, digitalizing that.
Sounds very good. All right, then I've also understood that you monitor the message flow in real time. What's the value in that?
I would say that when we establish the connection first time with the customer, it's really good that we monitor all the orders coming through to our system, and then we can immediately correct the errors, if there is anything. And when the connection is stabilized and we have a little bit longer history of the orders, we can monitor if there's happening something, and it's much faster that we can react and doing correction immediately when we have online monitoring system.
And that is quite important. You need to have stuff moving fast and kind of being able to react fast. So that's super important. All right, then kind of to wrap up, so it is still in the world where we're sort of moving to more digital processes in every way. Let's say any industry, any process, let's say everything is moving to more digital one. But still today, for the B2B messages, let's say, a lot of companies still focus on the invoices only. So we're talking about a lot of e-invoicing and so forth. But maybe the orders and the other message types, the full order to cash flow isn't all that digital in a lot of companies. So since you're quite a pioneer in that sense, that you have digitalized the full end-to-end, what would you say to other companies who are maybe considering, should they start doing this, should they invest in it, should they look into it? What would you say to them?
I would say that it's really good that if you think about that on your customer side, what could help you doing much better business with your customer, and let's say scalability is one thing also. Taking e-orders from your system is really good advantage also. It's create the customer experience because they can see that you are reacting very fast, and also, well, the e-invoice probably is quite known, but I would say that for us it's a core strategy that we try to help customer for digitally. So I think that's really give you a little bit benefit to helping customer also to getting the orders faster, and it's more reliable, and I would say that it's create some kind of integration with you and your customer, that you can say that maybe you're not the same ecosystem, but you are part of the customer's ecosystem.
Yeah, and it sounds like it is when the systems are all interlinked. It's not just within your company, but it's this when a customer places an order in their system, you see it right straight away in yours, isn't that it? Yeah. And that's actually really quite cool, and it must help out in getting those orders then into the delivery. All right. Would you like to add something? Did we miss some important point?
I think we covered quite good. I would say that we are in the IT business, and I know there is a lot of other business areas, But I think we are going ahead of that point that we need to think about it all topics in how we handle orders and invoicing that. So if you have manual orders, manual invoicing, it's really good to think that is it the time that maybe changing or some other things more complicated. If you have already doing that, then it's good to discuss with your customers. And I can tell that when we have a project with OpusCapita, everything went very well. So it's good for us. We use a lot of partners, and that was really benefiting from us.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much for this. This was super interesting, and that was all the questions I had in mind. But now I hope you viewers had a lot of questions in mind, and let's go see those. We'll be back after a very short break with Per back on the stage.